What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Final Fantasy Entertainment and Podcast Network. Today, we're going to be celebrating the 25th birthday of Final Fantasy VII. This is really exciting because there's an event coming up on the 31st, and a lot of speculation going around. So we're gonna kind of talk about it, what we expect to see at the show, and maybe even beyond that, what we can expect for the year, the 25th anniversary. Now, again, the North American release was later on in the year. This is actually celebrating the original release of it in Japan on January 31st, 1997. So yeah, let's see what we can come up with here, guys. All right, today I am joined by the Faraga fighter and the special guest party member Philip Hartshorn. So we're all really excited about Final Fantasy VII. So I'm going to kick it off with let's get right into it. There's an anniversary event coming up on the 31st. It seems to be a I guess a Japanese kind of exclusive event. It doesn't feel like it has this global presence to it, right? Otherwise, in my own personal opinion, I would say that they would save any kind of huge announcements and kind of temper the expectations. Like right now, like I feel like they would save big, huge announcements for like E3 or the Game Awards or like something, or like a Square Enix Presents type thing. Silo Sin, whoa! Thank you so much for that.
My God, thanks for the gift subs. Also, my
Yes.
girlfriend Aaliyah's in chat.
Thank you,
The
Aaliyah.
legend.
Welcome.
The female Barrett herself, guys.
I love that, dude. Oh my god. So let's go. You heard that voice. If you're an audio listener, you heard his voice. That is Philip Hartshorn. Philip, what are you thinking, man? What are you thinking about this? I kind of set you up for what I expect, but what do you got?
I think if the biggest thing we should expect from this is Ever Crisis,
Okay.
which I don't think people talk about enough. I think it's a really
Yes.
cool thing. Ever Crisis. We just talked about Stranger Paradise on the other show. This is like a really cool art exercise, to get more of our favorite thing, more of FF7 in this fun style, almost like this persona looking art, and like the character portraits and everything. Just a fun way to re-explore the story, and the fact that we're gonna get to play Advent Children. I want you to just think about that for a second. It's insane. That's gonna be really fun. Play
That's
before
true,
Crisis.
right?
No,
It's one of the. It's in there. It's gonna
play
include all
Advent
of
Children.
the.
Yeah, play those battles. Think about that. That's gonna be sick, right?
Yeah.
Maybe on the way to a smile. Like, you don't know what they're gonna put in this thing.
Yeah.
It could be all kinds of stuff that's never been brought to life. So I'm super excited for Ever Crisis. I think they said 2022 for that, so I think it could be very possible that they unleash a little bit of that on us. I think maybe too another thing could be maybe like a title announcement for part 2 or something like that. You know how they did the initial teaser as at E3 2015? They just said remake. They didn't do anything. They just showed like a bunch of Midgar, said remake. I think something like that could be really cool, just to let us know like it's coming.
That's right.
Or even
Yeah.
considering it's a Japanese kind of exclusive thing, it might also just literally be like, we are working on part 2. Please
Yeah.
be excited. Like, who
Yeah,
knows?
it's that's
Yeah.
actually in my notes right here. It's I do 100% completely agree with you. If we are to, by some miracle, see part 2 of anything at this event coming up, I really do think it could be a title reveal. Now, one thing
That would be so cool.
yeah, like one thing that's really important about this title reveal is it actually called Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. Like that's a lot of people were just
No,
assuming
it's called Reject.
Reject. There was a lot. I even made a video of 7 different titles that it could be called, and it was all starting with re. So it was like reunion, rebirth, but I didn't get
There's so
reject
many,
in there.
yeah.
Reject is good. So yeah, I mean like that's a thing. I mean people need to know what to call it, right? People need to know because it's remake part 2 is what we're calling it. But it could
Yeah.
have some fancy name, that we're not seeing. It could have a fancy subtitle after remake, like Intergrade. But so there's that question, and I think they can answer that question with a simple title reveal. And I think that's all we would see. What about you, Vinny? Do you think we're going to see anything more on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2?
Personally, I think I agree with you that I feel like anything remake part 2 would be more of a global release.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're gonna really focus on Ever Crisis more than anything else. I feel like if there is anything else besides Ever Crisis, I feel like I agree with you. It's probably going to be um, season 2 of First Soldier,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
and what we're going to
Mm-hmm.
see. They announced the Dragoon class in First Soldier, and I think they're going to
Ooh.
take this time to really highlight that and any other changes they're going to make to season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Maybe even give us a glimpse of what the battle pass might hold in it for cosmetics. Um, as far as Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, I personally I don't think we're gonna see it. If we do see anything at all, I don't think it's going to be something major. I think they're going to save that anticipation for a global stage.
Dude, I completely agree, and I actually kind of want to touch on what you were talking about with season two, First
Mhm.
Soldier. I think that I had thought that that was going to be the main focus, right? I know you said like they'll focus on Ever Crisis more. I think they're going to focus on
Mhm.
season two more than anything, of First Soldier. But I just learned about this morning or yesterday, the Twitter account for First Soldier posted that they're going to be doing a 25th anniversary event of their own on the 1st of February. And so I guess the next
Mm.
day. So it kind of makes me think that they're going to show a trailer for season two. Like, so that way they set up the season, what it's called. First season was called
Mhm.
Rise of Shinra. This
Mhm.
season, me and Vinny are really hoping for a Genova theme.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah.
Right? So we could have a Genova theme. It could be something like that. But it also, Nomura has confirmed that there will be several new maps, quoting that. Several new maps. At least I'm quoting a translation in an article
Oh,
that I
that's
read.
awesome. Yeah.
So if there's several new maps, what
Yeah,
got
what are they?
right? What
Like,
were we talking? Now, I personally
yeah.
feel that because any other location would be a first glimpse at Remake Part 2. Like, because a
Mhm.
rough first glimpse at Remake Part 2, even if we go to the freaking outside of Midgar area, like the Midgar area. That's a glimpse of what Remake Part 2 is going to look like. If we go to Calm, I don't know why we'd be dropping in Calm, but we could.
Yeah, we're dropping in
But
calm. There's like 10 houses.
yeah, we're
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Dirge Cerberus had a pretty
yeah,
fleshed
it
out. I
expanded.
mean, Dirge Cerberus they have gun battles in Calm, so
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
very
It does
possible.
exist.
Please
Yeah.
watch my what to expect in the Calm video because I really I go into it of why Calm could be expanded dramatically. I'll place that at the end of the video or something for you guys to click in.
I bet it
Um,
is too. Yeah, I hope it is.
yeah, it could be expanded. I mean, it was expanded like Vinny said in Dirge, so they got to take that and put it in there. So
Yeah.
if they have us dropping in a location like Calm or Junon, this is going to be a rough first look at what Remake Part 2 would look like. And if
And
they
where
show that, then that's, yeah, and where what?
a- and where
You know what
Remake Part
you know what I
2
predict?
might end.
Yeah,
What?
that's true.
Yep. Where do you
I
predict?
predict
Because I
a
think I might have it. Go ahead.
well, I saw Wu-Tai from Square Cactus, who's awesome, by the way. Square Cactus. I made me think, oh man, not Wu-Tai, but like Wu-Tai Battlefield.
Oh,
Mm.
How cool
snap.
would that be?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Because
Oh my
there's
god.
got to be like this. There's got this Wu-Tai war, which we know effectively nothing about. Like I always talk about, I want to see like Sephiroth's feats in this war, like what made him the greatest warrior and stuff.
Hmm.
Like there has to be a battlefield somewhere for that. Like, think like the Trojan War. There's like
Mhm.
this massive field in between Troy and the Greek ships. Like what is this place? Like they weren't in the city of Wutai like destroying it. It's not that. It can't be.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They weren't in Midgar either. Like where is the battlefield for the
Could be
Shinra
like
War?
on
Like
the
where was?
Wutai
Yeah,
continent.
the
Like
continent or
yeah, because
something.
there's
Or
a
is
lot
it
of
more
land
like
that's not being like a
Yeah.
lot of hilly mountains and stuff.
Right. Or is it
And
more like, there's just kind of like little skirmishes that happen across the world? Like what is like I think that'd be such a good way because they could expand and even do like, oh, the Junon fields or something of battle. Like
Mhm.
and that's a level.
Yeah, and
So
if
there's a lot of just like world locations that aren't like Cosmo Canyon, that they can do.
Mhm.
exactly. And if
and,
they are
and
to do that, though, and it would make a whole lot of sense in turn, like in the context of the story. If you're preparing for war against Wutai, you would want your candidates to train on a battlefield that they'll be experiencing, maybe, right? Like,
mhm.
so
Yeah, yeah.
so that makes
Mhm.
a lot of sense. Vinny, you wanted to say
And
something?
if you in the original, if you fly in the airship and you line your airship up with the sister ray from Junin where it was pointing and you fly straight, you follow that path, you actually land in Wutai
Whoa, there you
where
go.
your airship could land, and then that in the game, that's the only place you can dock your ship, because you can't go any closer to Wutai than that. So that would lend itself to being like, that's where, the Shinra invade the continent, and they have the sister right
Yeah.
aimed there to provide support from, so that southern part of the Wutai continent could be the battlefield that you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Now here's where I'm going with it. Right. I feel like to kind of like pull the reins back in to be, I feel like, a little bit more realistic in my opinion. To whereas I don't think they're going to give us a glimpse at future things, right? But where's the location that we've been already? The top of the city, man. Like, we can drop into sectors
so
1,
cool.
8, and then have the reactor be part of the playable area.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, it reuses assets that Remake has done, like just kind of like how they've done with First Soldier. They reused a lot of the locations and stuff. So you can bring that up, bring it up top. Now you're dropping up top, and you can go into the reactor, go down to the just all the way, just like in the game, just like in the remake.
That would be amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
That'd be cool, man.
So
And then
fun.
then you have hazards. What? Then you could jump off and accidentally fall into the live stream. Accidentally
awesome.
fall and get sucked up by the reactor.
You get a whole like identity, like
Yeah, like, whoa. That's your event. That's your special event. You jump in there and
yeah.
yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, you jump in and then it gives you a glimpse at the trailer for Remake Part 2. It's like, oh,
That would be awesome.
no, I
great.
really do think that would be. I think that's going to be the map, guys. I would love that. You get to experience the place where you meet Aerith. You get to, and like, that I think that's the section of the map, sectors 1 and 8, and then the reactor in the middle. And I
That's
think
a great idea. Yeah.
cool. Also, like Vinny mentioned earlier, we got a Dragoon class being teased, which, they're gonna have to. They're probably gonna talk about balance things that they've made balancing to the classes. They did. Noboro even said that they have. They're in preparation for season 2. They've made a lot of tweaks and adjustments, and then with a new class coming in, that's gonna have change with the meta a little bit. But I do want to point out that Schrodinger's baby seal pointed out on Twitter that Sid's Ultima weapon is sitting there in that dragoon's hand, the Venus Gospel. It looks just like it. So which leads me to believe that if we get a Dragoon class, I bet the Battle Pass has Sid skin, or at least the shop will have a Sid skin, a Sid Highwind.
Yeah, like a Sid outfit. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
And then if they do, though, once again, it's kind of a first glimpse at what Remake Part 2 will offer. So I'm
I'm
we're at the
actually
point.
more with you.
Yeah.
Like I don't think they're very likely to they need those reveals for like the big trailer drops of part 2 and 3 and stuff. I can't see them showing too much. That's why I said if anything, maybe just like an innocuous field or something, like nothing that would show actual Wutai or actual Cosmo, or maybe like Cosmo Canyon, whatever, like outskirts, just like a cool kind of rocky area or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
There's got to be something they can play
Fort
around.
Condor would be kind of cool, like because you
Yeah,
have
Fort
that
Condor would be
battle
awesome.
in the strategy game.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be
kinda
great.
Cool. But yeah, no, that's exactly right. So if they do show Sid, though, that's kind of a first glimpse at what Remake would look like, unless if they give you Advent Children Sid. But if we get Sid, man, if Sid skin, that's like, oh, okay, so this is what we can expect Sid to look like. But
I'm so excited for Sid, like just in general,
Right.
and all the characters.
Me
Like,
too.
once again, I think you would save that for a trailer, right?
Yeah.
So
like I'm excited for all the new players of FF7 Remake who haven't seen that next round of characters. Like
Right.
Aaliyah, my girlfriend, is doing her first playthrough right now just for fun,
oh,
and like
that's awesome.
she's learning so much about it. And I'm like, oh man, I can't wait.
Are
for
you
her to
sitting
meet,
down
like,
next to her just watching? Like, I mean, like just watch her play.
Yeah.
Like, that would be
It's
me.
so fun to watch her play.
It's just like I'm
the
just
coolest
trying.
thing ever.
I'm trying to play the game, and you're like,
That's pretty much
the
it.
TV's this
That's
way.
pretty
Yeah.
much Yeah.
What do you think
Yeah.
about that moment, though? That was kind of cool.
That's literally it. I'm like, I need to know what you thought about this. What do you think about this? What about this character? What about that thing?
Yeah.
And like, what about that song? What do you think about the second version of that song from part 2?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
She's like, can I
it's
just...
so much fun getting that, because we hear about new players playing all the time, but we don't get to like sit and talk
Right.
to someone that's so
Yeah.
close to you, and so it's amazing. So yeah, I think Sid and like He's such a cool character.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We will see.
I was actually playing Final Fantasy 7 for my son. Like I was just like I gotta get. He's like 4 years old. I gotta get him like
That's so cool.
some story time going on here. So I played the 1st
Mhm.
opening mission, and like I'm playing it, and then I had to go get my baby daughter. Like she was crying. I was like, oh, I paused it, go get it, and Barrett just said that the planet's dying, Cloud, right? And like and I just had to go pause it and go get my baby daughter, and like my son goes, are you hurrying? The planet's dying.
That's so funny.
Oh, man. So it's
What
great
an absolute legend.
right? It's great to
They're
experience.
draining the
it
life
with
force. What are you doing, Dad?
Again, the planet's
doing?
dying. I was done. I
great.
was laughing so hard. But yeah, so being able to get glimpses into the future, we're at that point with First Soldier and Remake, right? We're at this point where it's like, are we going to start like seeing some bleed through here of crossovers, and especially if you're bringing a Dragoon in, people are going to want to see Sid. And if you're going to go into a different location, people are going to get a glimpse at what you got, in store. So it almost feels like a trailer is inevitable soon, especially if they're going to be dropping new maps. But like you said, Phil said a great example somewhere that's not too obvious, like it's just the battlefield, it's open field, or on top of the city where you've already been. And I think that's
Oh, they could also do new stuff too. Like they're adding so much stuff. They could do like, oh, this is like an
Benora.
outpost. Yeah.
I
Like
guess.
Benora, they could do like, oh, this is like an outpost that was built 30 years ago for the war. Was eventually taken apart. That's just like wherever, someplace.
Yeah,
in
there's
the
a
world,
lot of
man.
space in between certain areas. I mean, like like I did a video on how many miles between Calm and Chocobo Farm. Like there's like I think it was like what I can't remember, 300 miles. So there's
Oh, if you like measure the
I did
Well,
a
that's
whole breakdown on it. Yeah.
That's why I'm excited for part 2 though, because like, dude, Unreal Engine
Right.
5, like you can render just miles and miles like nothing. It's like cool. Like
I
you wanna do
still
anything
don't
hard
think
for
it's
the
going to be
engine?
fully open world. I made a
I don't think
video
so
on that
either.
as well. Yeah, but large
But
open
I think
areas
it'll be
for sure.
yeah, like, but I'm talking like real large
Mm-hmm.
open area, like not like it's gonna be like and I hope they do
Yeah.
because they could just make a bunch of optional stuff that's completely optional.
Yes.
If you want to like have like Breath of the Wild like 100 hours exploring stuff for fun with like rewarding stuff, but at the same time you can have like your campsites, your awesome story and character driven content at the campsites, and then right to the next one, Chocobo. But I think it'd be great, and they have vehicles and stuff too. We got to remember in FF7, so I think they can make huge areas.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So they can, I mean, they can throw it in a brand new location. That's exciting too. So yes, if there's going to be multiple maps or several maps, as it was quoted, I would say that you can probably expect a familiar location and then maybe some new locations, like Phil said. That'd be cool. So we go on to, or at least that's what I guess that's what I think about Final Fantasy VII First Soldier is what we're going to see, and then maybe they'll do a deep dive gameplay on the day after because they've already set that up. Like they'll show you the game and maybe show you the new map, like in an actual hands-on gameplay demo. That might be what we see. What do you think, Vinny? Do you think we're going to see anything else on First Soldier?
I like you said, I think maybe the theme of season 2.
Yes, Genova, please.
But,
But if it's Wutai, I mean, yeah, that'd be cool too.
I mean, if it's Genova, we might because remember this is a VR simulator where they said locations from the future are also included. So locations from the past are obviously also included. If it's Genova themed, we could have a northern crater, where the calamity from the sky first encountered, the Earth. Or if you try and go along with like Shinra's priorities, you might have yourself a Promised Land themed,
That'd be cool.
where it's maybe
Like go
them
back to the ancients' time. Oh, that's cool.
yeah, because if Shinra's
man,
trying to
you
find
never
the
know.
Promised Land, then they might be theming it around the Promised Land, and then you might get your Sephiroth battle that you've been hoping for.
Yeah.
That
Daniel.
would be so good.
Yeah, I had
good.
thought that Real quick, like to just briefly to kind of say what Vinny said was setting up there. I had theorized that Sephiroth is the first soldier, and that's what the whole story is going to be about, is Sephiroth. And I thought it'd be so cool if, like, one of the events is that Sephiroth drops into the battlefield, and then it changes the entire game to where it's now you're not trying to be the last one standing. You're just trying to be the last one standing before Sephiroth inevitably kills you, right? So like he's like
That'd
this.
be a fun thing. Yeah.
Did you ever play Call of the Dead from Call of Duty, like the zombies?
I've seen it. Yeah, the
he's like
mode where they chase
George
you.
Romero just walking around, and like if you see him, you pretty much have to just get out of town. So it's like if you see Sephiroth, don't get near him because he's gonna kill you inevitably. I think that would be cool for him just to kind of go around, and it basically becomes a survival game. And then Sephiroth is the last one standing. He becomes the first soldier, and then like the story can go on from there.
That'd be amazing. Even like a cool thing because it is VR. Like it reminds me even of the Crisis Core. You know, like Genesis and Angeal, like triple duel thing in the VR. Like what if you're running around, and I think it'd be super cool if they did this so like it's a random event, like 1 in 10,000 games or something, where all of a sudden like it's the whole thing starts like glitching apart the map as you're playing, and all of a sudden like those chosen by the planet starts playing in like a weird form, and then like the whole sky goes dark, and like Sephiroth just drops down and starts murdering everybody, and you're like, what is happening?
That
and
would
then
be
it ends,
so
and like
sweet.
nobody believes you that it happened because you weren't streaming. You're like, I swear Sephiroth. They're like, yeah, okay, Sephiroth came to the game. Yeah, sounds great. But I love stuff like that.
That would
it'd
be
such
so
a cool
cool. Yeah,
storytelling device. And then eventually somebody catches it on stream. They're like, holy shit, it's real. It's so fun.
Yeah, I mean, like they can take a lot of notes from like games like Fortnite and stuff, doing that kind of story stuff, story events in game. So yeah, that would be so freaking cool. But yeah, getting the theme for season 2, I think is definitely going to happen. I think that's like, if anything on this list, I think that's going to be for sure. I think we're going to see season 2 of First Soldier for sure. And then if we go on to Ever Crisis, which we kind of touched on a little bit, I think once again, First Soldier there. Ever Crisis should be. I would love to see maybe a release date for this thing. Maybe saying that it's not as far off as you think. Maybe it might be for like September to celebrate the 25 years in the North American thing. I don't know. Depends on how far off this thing is. But we're getting 1 episode a month from last I heard. That's
what I heard too.
Yeah. So like that's once the game's out, man. This game lives on for years. And
it's so exciting.
Yes, dude.
Well, I think it's also like it's probably the most like celebrating Final Fantasy 27, Final Fantasy like 25-year type thing.
Yeah.
If you think about it, it's just like cool. You get to replay everything, like, and kind of relive it in this different graphics and stuff. So I'd be very surprised if it doesn't show up in even like a kind of announcement about an announcement or something at this event, because it's the perfect thing.
Yeah.
To show more of. Like we've seen very little of it.
Yep. So that's true.
One thing that I just thought of, don't know how possible this is, but with everybody kind of asking for this, maybe they will lean towards this, but possibly an announcement that First Soldier will come to console and PC.
Oh yeah. With the
they really should do that. Yeah.
A lot of people are asking for it. Don't know how much they want to do that or not, because I feel like they probably would have done it, but maybe season 1 was a play test and they're like, a lot of people want this, our player base will grow if we put this on PC, console, whatever.
For sure it'll grow. Yeah.
So
I'm gonna be honest too, I played, and those who caught my stream, I think I've streamed it like 2 or 3 times, and I had my one mission. I was like, I need to kill somebody with the bike on the motorcycle. Like, I don't care about anything. I don't care about winning.
Cowards die.
Exactly. I was like, I just want to run down these guys. It's like an FPS is like my nightmare as a Musashi, Dark Souls runner. I was just like, I need to do this. I got on the bike. I finally got my kill. It was the funniest thing ever, just chasing down people. I'm gonna run you down, like, you cowards. And then that was it. I was like, I'm happy for now. But what I will say is, if it was on like my PS5 and I could play very cleanly and easily instead of like trying to finagle my iPad to my computer to stream, like I'd definitely do that more.
Right. Yeah. Like this game is obviously meant to be community driven, and I think
Yes.
I feel like the developers know. Like I think they know this, but it's a community driven game. It's difficult to stream, and that's not a good combination. Like like if it's difficult to stream and you want that publicity, I think they want it to be on at least on PC soon, as soon as they can. So I would love to see it, man. I'd love to see that announcement, Vinny. That would be awesome. So as far as like Ever Crisis goes, like that's literally, I think we're gonna see a trailer for it. I think we're gonna see more on it and how it works. That would be cool. Even if it's a release window. I just feel like you said, Phil. Like I feel like it's like you said, man. It's probably the most celebrating thing of the Final Fantasy 7. So totally. I'd love to see that. Then what's up, Vinny?
I was just gonna say, Round 2 Gaming brought up something pretty interesting in chat, saying, so how does Ever Crisis expand beyond what was already shown in Remake Part 1? An example, they won't reveal the new design of places like Cosmo Canyon or Junon or Wutai in Ever Crisis. So do we expect the first few episodes being solely in Midgar? Which made me realize about timing. If Ever Crisis does come out soon, the episodes of Ever Crisis need to be in line with when Remake Part 2 will come out, because Ever Crisis isn't going to want to show what Remake Part 2 will have in it, because Remake is canonical to the story of Ever Crisis. So they're going to have to time it to where if Ever Crisis comes out in February, and they're releasing episodes every month, then Remake Part 2 is going to have to come out before they get to
or at least be
Remake
revealed.
Part 2.
At least be a trailer. Yeah.
Right. So everything kind of needs to flow. So we might.
They also might. They might have already confirmed this. Correct me if I'm wrong. They could also do like, oh, here's a Before Crisis chapter. Here's, maybe we start with the furthest back thing, Before Crisis. Then we have like 7 months. Then we start FF7. Like, I don't think they've revealed that.
That's a question. That is a very, very good question that I would love to see announced at this event. I'd love to see them talk about their release plan. Because like you said, is it going to be like I get one Final Fantasy original chapter and then I have to wait 5 months before I get the next chapter in that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I really like that idea. So it's kind of like, man, that's... So and then you're blending there's too many storylines going on. You're getting
it'd be a bit confusing. So I think the least confusing way, sadly, is they start with Before Crisis, Crisis Core, and just go through everything in order, and that would also afford them like years to finish FF7 Part 2 and 3.
True.
And then just like finish with Advent Children, Dirge of Cerberus. Like, why not do it in order?
Or better.
I don't know what the plan is.
Or better, and it just completely unimaginable, and it won't happen. Or better, just give us one chapter from each story, all in 1 month. You get your menu screen, and you can you can just choose which game you want to start.
Whatever you want.
Yeah.
So fun. It's a free game too. It's a gacha, but it's free to play, I believe.
Yeah,
right?
It's with in-app purchases. Exciting. Yep. I would absolutely pay money for it though. So I'm really excited to see what the roadmap is. Exactly, Vincent Graymore. Yep, a roadmap for release date. That's exactly what I wanted to see. And then a release date. So if they do want to bring it all the way to September, that does afford a lot of time for them, like you said, Vinny. If they're going to start in Round 2 Gaming, like if they're going to start, we're once again bleeding into remake stuff. So I will say though, if they're going to be like, say, here's Final Fantasy 7 part of the compilation in Ever Crisis, I don't know if they're really necessarily giving away remake at this. I mean, yeah, it is going to be upvised and all this, like all this other good stuff, but it's really remodeling it after the original. Like, it seems like at least that way, because when they showed, I mean, I've been doing this series about comparing the classic cam. A lot of the environments are very faithful, but it's at least in the trailer, it seemed like the environments were almost 1-to-1 faithful to the original.
Yeah, they're very faithful, which I forgot to even talk to you about this. Like, that is the coolest thing ever. They did that because that's something I've been saying since day one. I was like, I can't really do it because I'm not like a modding expert, but I can't wait for it to go to PC. So like, I want to play one day FF7 like with the fixed camera, from the original, and then created new ones and stuff because it's such a cinematic thing. You know, that's my jam. So I'm so glad you did that. I was like, yes, somebody did it. I tried doing it. Like I got that camera thing right away,
Yeah.
and I was just like, and then I had to travel and stuff. And I was like, I just kind of
tough.
showed like, oh, here's the first shot next to the train, and like I didn't really know how to work the camera too well. So I'm so glad you did that, and that video was amazing.
So you did that too? Like you like placed it by the train and everything, like to kind of get the same angle. That's cool, man.
And I had Cloud run around and stuff, and I was just like, this is.
Oh wow!
It would be a dream to play it like that. So I'm like, the fact that you did it at that level, and like you figured out to do like a super wide angle for the battle.
Yeah.
Because you have to like show everything. I was like, oh, he's got it figured out.
I mean, it's definitely been like, God, it's been a thing. It takes so much time to make them, but I really love every minute of it because like I said, I get to this new appreciation of like how Remake is keeping things faithful to it. And then expanding when it makes sense. Like you go into the reactor. I love the charming style of Remake or of original where it's like he's like
but it's so small.
He like hops one area, hops down a ladder, and then you go down and you see Jesse, and then that's it. And then you just go right to you go across like this what looks like a rebar, like it's just like a bar, and you go into the ladder and go down.
Yeah, and it's also like what that doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense of where
workers.
You can imagine if that part was in Remake, it would be like, wait, okay, that's something's a little odd about this. So I do like that they expanded in certain areas that made sense. So yeah, I mean that's I think at Ever Crisis would keep that. Like that charming, like you hop across, go down the ladder, and then you're basically playing Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 with this new.
I'm very curious.
Yeah.
But the one thing is, remember they are using like the remake-esque or very close to remake battle models.
Yes.
So that's the one thing where like if we start seeing like Vincent and Sid, like they can't reveal that yet. Because it's gonna be remake Vincent and Sid outfits, right? So that's a really interesting.
That's another thing. Like we gotta see how the combat works. We gotta see why the heck Aerith was in the Scorpion Sentinel battle. Like we got, like how I know it's probably related to gacha. It's probably like you can.
I would say it's probably gacha.
Yeah.
Which I think is cool. Like as long as it's optional and it's not forced. Like if you want to spend $20 and have like Vice the Immaculate versus Guard Scorpion, fine. Like have fun. Sure. Like go beat his ass with Vice.
I'm good with it, man.
And
yeah.
Yeah, but if I can also just play it as like Cloud and Barret, that'd be so much fun. And as long as they give you options, or like, and it's not just like random, you know, insanity. Like, oh, Don Corneo versus whatever.
I mean, like, I'm cool with that too, as long as it's like it stays out of my story. And like, if you like say you can tap into Final Fantasy VII, and then when you go in there, you get sub menus. You can do story, like chapter 1, or then you can do challenge run, or you can do like if it's a challenge run, and like you click in the challenge run, bring your own party with you. Say I want freaking Don Corneo, I want freaking Noctis, I want like let's like all of these characters I've gotten from Gacha.
That'd be funny, Noctis.
Yeah, right. I'm cool with it, but it's like as long as there's a story mode that's separate from all of that, where I don't have any of those characters, and I'm good with it. So that's another thing we really need to see. I think there's so much we don't know about Ever Crisis that I think Ever Crisis could be.
I'm super interested.
Right. It could definitely.
I don't think it's talked about enough. Like nobody even mentions it. It's such an interesting.
Yeah. You said that at the top of the show, and I'm like, you're absolutely right, man. Like people were like going nuts about like, oh, there's a possibility part 2 can be revealed, and I'm like, guys. There's a possibility Ever Crisis could be there. Like I'm excited.
Yeah, dude,
for
playing Advent Children. I want to reiterate that's crazy. Like, it's gonna be fun, you know.
Yeah, and it raises more questions. Like, how is that going to work? How is Dirge of Cerberus going to work? Is Dirge of Cerberus going to work in the top-down chibi art style, or are they going to be?
Yeah, is it going to be a shooting game? Is it going to be a turn-based battle? Dirge of Cerberus, it's a shooting game. Yeah. Like, what are they going to do?
So what?
There's so many questions, man. Yeah. Like we know nothing about this game.
Yep. So I'm really excited if they do Ever Crisis, and I feel like that's the big thing. That's the big thing. And we touched on it a little bit, but if we moved on to like remake part 2 and what we expect to see, I think we feel like we're all kind of in agreement there, where it's just like we get like a title reveal, we get something very short
that's
teaser.
like a huge reach if we get anything, huge. I think. But I mean, they have to save that big stuff for E3. Like, come on, when the whole world's watching, you'd be an idiot not to.
Yeah,
so
I mean, come on.
I think they should. Yeah. Even a teaser, honestly. But I think if that's like we're gonna have our kind of like reach dream or whatever, we get like a title reveal or a fun teaser or even just like an update. or maybe like a shot of an environment or something, like not even a trailer, just like, oh, here's a picture of a mountain.
Here's some
that's
concept
from part
art.
2.
Oh, I would go nuts over concept art too. Like that's how desperate we are right now. We would go nuts over concept
Isn't that
art.
funny?
Yeah, man.
Please
I mean,
give it.
yeah, just give it to me. So yeah, I mean, like that's the kind. I think that's what we expect to see from this event. Anything outside of that, you guys thinking? Do we see any new projects? That was kind of rumored.
I was just gonna say, like, what about something we don't know about? Right?
Yeah.
What if there's a cool thing where it's just like, there's another thing like Ever Crisis? I don't know, another side project, but why not? I hope we get something new and exciting, but also I just hope it's a fun celebration. Like maybe we get some never before seen stories from the developers, like as they worked on the original. Maybe we get some behind the scenes for remake. Maybe we get interviews. I love that stuff. Like
Me
I watch
too,
Lord of the
man.
Rings, like
God.
DVDs all day, like the behind the scenes. It's so cool.
I would totally watch a making
It's a
of,
celebration.
like I feel like they should bring in for at least, well, it's all so super secretive, but like I feel like they should bring in like they did with like God of War. I don't know if you ever watched that documentary. Amazing documentary on like how the game is made, and they have a camera crew going around, and I would love that kind of thing for Final Fantasy. I got the Ultimania thing, and I'm just like, this stuff is just amazing. So if they're gonna do a celebration, I'm with Phil on this 100%. Like, give us some like behind the scenes looks, man.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Yeah, let's celebrate.
Exactly.
I just hope that they don't do what they did with the orchestra, and their breaking news is literally just like a merchandise.
Oh God. Yeah,
Oh,
that was rough. That was rough. Me and Vinny, and that's the other thing I do kind of want to reiterate here. A lot of people expecting to see Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. And I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Like, please, like, feel free to come back to this video, comment on there, and say, hey, ha ha ha, and laugh at me. But, because I would want that. But no, I just don't think we're going to see it. Like, I don't see them revealing Final Fantasy VII Remake, especially since it doesn't seem like a global event. Like, it doesn't seem like E3 or the Game Awards has this massive stage. You also don't want to kind of overshadow Stranger of Paradise coming out soon. You don't want to overshadow Final Fantasy 16, and like you want to have them have their breathing room. But you also do want to celebrate the 25th anniversary. But this is going to happen. Do we know an official time yet? Like, because if it's usually with the Japanese events and stuff, they usually take place at like 3 a.m. over here on our side.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah,
it's
so it's like
rough for us.
They're not gonna drop something so massive at 3 a.m. for.
It'd be very strange. Yeah,
Right.
It'd be a very odd choice. Again, like why not? I always wonder that when companies like wait a month after E3 or like do it before E3. It's like, dude, everybody on Earth is watching E3. Like,
yeah.
Like at the big conferences and stuff. Your trailer there. What are you doing? Like, yeah. We'll see.
So yeah, I mean, like if they were to do a drop of a trailer, man, I just do not see it dropping at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, and they have in the past, is what Crane's saying. And yeah, I mean, they're so unpredictable, and that's why me and Vinny stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch the orchestra that one day, or that when it was like last year.
Hey man, you still got a sweet orchestra.
It was so good. Yeah. Like I was so happy with it. I was
yeah. Me and Aaliyah recently went to not Distant Worlds, but the FF7 orchestra, and it's just, I've been to 4 Distant Worlds, but this one was really cool in a different way. Like they played so many songs.
Yeah.
They played even like Yuffie's theme from the new DLC.
Wow. Nice.
It was really like they're adding songs constantly, and it was really special. Yeah.
Dude, I remember. I mean, I have never been to the actual concert, and we were going to go to that one in New York. We were going to travel.
Oh, we could have met up.
I know, man. That sucks. Yeah, we were going to go to it, but just circumstances. So I just really want to go to a orchestra. We did get to watch the video, like I was saying. We did the live stream of the orchestra. It's so good, man. It's so good. But yeah, like we stayed up.
You got to get to it. It is like, you will cry.
I made the mistake, man. I made a mistake. We went to E3 in 2019, probably the last E3, true E3. I hope not. I love E3 so much, but we went there, and I had the choice to go to the orchestra for Final Fantasy VII or EA Play, and I was like, I gotta go to EA Play, and then I was like, I should have gone to the orchestra.
It's touring right now again, and Distant World is coming back for the first time in years. So if nothing else, go to Distant Worlds, which is like the coolest thing ever.
And
like,
the DC one got canceled too, and it's like, ah, man. So
Yeah, last minute getting canceled. So just keep your eyes out. You got to like follow the Distant World's Twitter because they cover both shows,
nice
schedules and stuff.
Fletcher's going to orchestra this week, man. Enjoy.
Oh, amazing.
Enjoy.
There's nothing like it. Like it's an experience that you cannot get like listening to, like MP3s and stuff. Like to hear every instrument and stuff. It's absolutely emotional.
So I got Hey a Nobody in here. If you guys can give me some confirmation, or I can look it up, I don't know. But Hey a Nobody saying looks like it's 7 p.m. Japan time, which would be around 6 a.m. Eastern time. Yeah,
that's manageable. At least you can just get up early instead of like staying up all night. Yeah.
If that's the case,
tough,
if it starts at 7 a.m., then that means give it about an hour for First Soldier and Ever Crisis, and maybe you can drop a trailer or a teaser, and that would actually work out. I would actually say okay to that. I would say early in the morning, first thing, you wake up to it and you're like, oh my god, it's freaking Final Fantasy Remake Part 2 title trailer. Sure, maybe.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, can you imagine? So that's exciting stuff, but I do think, like, out of all, I think we've covered a lot of stuff with this event coming up. How do you guys plan on celebrating? You guys plan on celebrating in your own way for Final Fantasy 25th anniversary? You gonna make a sweet Twitter tweet there? You
Definitely do tweet. Yeah. Maybe tweet out our fun cosplay. Like I said, me and Aaliyah or something. Yeah, I would say maybe just play the OG for a few minutes or something. I think it'd be really fun. I've been wanting to show Aaliyah just because she's never like seen the OG, and I think it'd be funny to show her like how much it's changed or something, or maybe stream Mods. Another buddy of ours has made some pretty like 60 FPS original FF7 and stuff. That'd be a fun thing to play around with.
Yes, I love.
And maybe just that and listen to my favorite songs. That's some of my favorite parts of the games.
That sounds good. Yeah, for sure. Vinny, what do you got, man? You gonna do something special, man?
I might also play original. Stephanie's first look at Final Fantasy VII was the remake, and her first look at the end of remake was the, fighting Destiny and stuff. And I had to pause the game and turn around and be like, I promise this is not what the original has at this point in the game. So she has to see Final Fantasy VII original and why we love it so much to where it needed this remake.
Yeah, and we started a freaking podcast about right.
Right.
What is your obsession with this game? I need to know.